Happy Earth Day! My name is Lauren Henderson, and I am the Director of Secondary Programs with Junior Achievement of the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast. And we are excited to continue providing students the opportunity to learn about financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and work readiness. Now, speaking of work readiness, this week we are kicking off our career speaker series called Invest in Your Planet here at Albury Brothers Boats. And this week, students from across the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast are going to have the opportunity to hear from marine industry experts. And they're not only going to shed light on what they do in their career journey, but they're going to shed light on the various opportunities within the marine industry because there are a ton. I'd like to take this opportunity to quickly thank Palm Beach International Boat Show Gives Back and Waste Management for sponsoring this career speakers series, and thank you for making it possible. Now today, we're excited to have Jeff Lichterman, and he's going to share a little bit about what he does and how he turned his passion into his career. So, Jeff, take it away.
Welcome to Albury Brothers. I'm Jeff. I'm the owner, and let me show you how we make some beautiful boats. It's kind of like making a cupcake, let's say. We start with a mold. You can see here. These are molds. Here's mold with fiberglass in it. There's a hull mold right there. Basically, you take the mold, you put in the equivalent of PAM, which is release agent, and then you build the boat from the outside in. First, you spray your gel coat. That's your color that you see on the outside. And once that dries, then you start laying in fiberglass. And this is what fiberglass looks like. It comes in sheets. And you lay it all in here, and then you coat it with resin. And you can apply resin a couple ways. One is you can brush it in and take a roller and roll it down, get all the air out. Or you can vacuum infuse it. You can put a bag over this and a feed line here and a vacuum pump down there and pull the resin through it, which is really cool. That's called infusion. So this is dry fiberglass. If you look over here, you can see a completed part ready to come out of the mold. This is fiberglass that's already been laid. It has the resin in it. The reddish pink color is the resin. Why is it reddish pink? Because resin comes in 55-gallon drums. And you add a catalyst, 2%, when you go to use it. It's called MEKP. And by adding the catalyst, it makes it get hard. It gets hot, and then it gets hard in about 45 minutes. So we want to make sure that the catalyst is going in the resin. So we put some red dye in the catalyst so we can make sure it's been catalyzed. Because there's nothing worse than putting the resin in the boat and coming back 2 hours later and it's still wet. That's a bad day. So this is nice and hard. This is a hull of a 20-footer. These are called stringers in here. It's like the backbone of the boat. It's the equivalent of that I-beam holding up the building. That's what a stringer is in the boat. Stabilizes it and stiffens it. Also at the transom here, by the way, here you can see where the part and the mold are separate. These wedges help us get the part out of the part, being the hull, out of this mold. So it's already been broken loose with wedges. We're going to use our chain hoist and lift it up later today. In addition to fiberglass in the boat, notice we put in coring here on the transom. This gives it the I-beam effect. You have fiberglass here, and then this 26-pound core material here that makes the transom really stiff so it doesn't, flex. And you can bolt an engine on and tighten those bolts down and it won't crush because it's because it's 26 pound, it's so dense. So that's the hull mold. Come on down, we'll show you some more. This is a deck mold. This is what goes on top of the hull. There's different types of fiberglass, as you can see. This is called chop strand mat. It acts as a binder and a print blocker. This is structural glass, 1708 biax. Like, you wouldn't want the outside of your boat to look like this, would you? So we put 4 layers of this chop strand mat on first before we put this on. And then between this and the next layer, we put more chop so they can like more easily stick together. So come on around here. We've got another console being built here. You can see it's loaded with dry fiberglass, multiple layers, and we're going to put some resin in it, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We also have to worry about the atmosphere. It's supposed to rain today. You don't want to do stuff when it's super humid out if you can avoid it. This is really cool over here. Follow me. So I told you this is how the resin comes out. This is a 55-gallon drum of resin. And it comes out through the hose to a gun. The catalyst is on the other side of this machine. The 2 hoses mix together. And when it comes out of the head of that gun, they're both together, both the catalyst and the resin. Come on over here, follow me. On Friday, we took the hull out of this mold. This is a 23-foot Albury Brothers boat. And now it's tipped up on its side, getting ready to start the next hull. We start by just putting some tape here to protect the edges. This is a flange that gets cut off and thrown away. It just allows us to build the fiberglass out so we have something to cut off. If we tried to end it perfectly here when it's wet and in this form, we wouldn't have a very good edge and we'd have some dips and it would be not as good. So we have to waste some material bringing it over to finish it off. So what they're going to do now is check the mold for any repairs that need to be done, clean it, get any debris out of there, apply some mold release agent, the PAM I talked about. So the part will come out. When that's all done, we'll spray it with gel coat. This next boat is going to get a blue bottom, so they'll actually tape off the mold right where the bottom is, we know, right where it is, and we'll cover the sides and we'll spray blue gel coat in the bottom. And then as that's drying, we'll pull this paper and tape off and expose the top sides of the mold, and we'll spray it white. So we end up with a white and blue boat. Later on, we'll paint a green stripe where they meet to make it a crisp, perfect line. Follow me. In addition to the hull and the deck, there's the interiors of the boat. So here's an empty mold for the 23. You can see this has forward seating. Here's the seats. Like your feet would be on the floor here. Your legs would go up, your butt would be sitting here. You would, the console goes there. There's another one over here where the part is complete and on the mold. So when this is done, it'll look like this. In addition to what we call the liner or the interior of the boat being built on here, it's gotten its fish box glassed on, or soon to be glassed on. It's going to get live wells glassed on here. These little landings are like cutaways where your hatch will be to get in the live well. And forward, you can see there's a fish box and other storage glassed on. We also core the floor or the sole of the boat to give it stiffness, like I showed you in the transom. So, because fiberglass can flex. By giving a core, you get that I-beam effect. Here's some core poking through, you can see. See the checkerboard pattern? Stiffens it up. This is interesting. If you'll turn to your right, here's a deck mold for a 23 just sprayed this morning with gel coat. So remember we talked about taping the edge, applying the mold release, cleaning the mold. First step, spray the gel coat. It looks like it's still wet. Let's see. Sticky, but not totally wet. So this afternoon, we'll put a layer of fiberglass on it and resin coat it. That's called the skin coat. So it's really great building boats. It's so much fun. And it's even better when they come out of the mold. So we'll go down here. And this is our next department. It's called assembly. We build the parts here in lamination. And by the way, there's not just big parts. Look at all these parts. Over here, these are all small parts. Hard top tops, hard top bottoms. Look at all those hatches, tubs, scuppers, all kinds of small parts have to be built, as well as the big parts to make the boat come together and be usable. So here's parts off the mold. That's an interior off the mold that's empty. See the live wells at the back, and the fish box has some insulation foam on it. It's still upside down. The flange is still on it. Here is the deck or cap that came out of the mold that just got gel coated this morning. That's what it looks like. See the flange is on it. It's got to get cut off. But here's the non-skid. We're going to have cleats here. We're going to have fishing rod holders. That's the deck. And here's the hull. It came out of an empty mold. Remember I told you about the core and the transom? There it is, cleaned up. The stringers. We've now put the fuel tank in it, which is made of aluminum. It's black because it gets sprayed with coal tar epoxy to be a corrosion barrier. And then we foam it into the boat with 4-pound pour foam to stabilize and hold the tank in place. You can see the water tank up forward, made of plastic. You can see before the interior goes in, we put all the pumps. Back here are fish box diaphragm pumps. On the floor are bilge pumps. So this 23 is fresh out of the mold. You can see the flange is still on. If you look inside, you'll see how we cut holes in the top of the stringers so we could put clamps on it and lift it out of the mold. So we lifted it up, dropped it on some dollies, and wheeled it here to the assembly department. The other interesting thing you can see in the top sides is the coring we use. 5-pound core cell. That's that checkerboard pattern. It gives you the stiffness without weight. So now you've seen the lamination department and assembly department. That when the boat leaves here, it's halfway through. We go to paint and finish, and then we go to rigging, where the engines and electronics and hardtops all come together and get put on. And welcome to Albury Brothers Rigging Department, the last stage of our boat building experience. So the boats come here like this from our paint and finish department, without a console, without a hardtop, without a motor, without electronics. And those particular parts come separately. So you can see there's a hardtop for the boat after this one. If you'll look over here, the hardtop for this boat is right here, upside down on the bench, ready to get these legs, which our fabricator makes. So we are going to cut a hole here, put a floodlight, put an electronics box, put some courtesy lights, turn the legs over and bond them to the top and bolt them to the top, and pre-assemble the console over here. Follow me, please. We have 2 consoles. This is for that boat over there. And Tim, how you doing? Come on out and say hi. Hi. Tim is a master rigger, and he is putting together this console with steering, Garmin, throttle. inside, I don't know if you can see in here, the circuit breaker box, battery chargers, and everything that's kind of behind the scenes. We'll spend a couple days doing this. He is super highly skilled and able to join disparate equipment and make it all work together. When he's done with this and the hardtop with legs on it, we'll marry it together, and then we'll use our forklift and put it in the boat, like you can see right there. There's the boat ahead of it. Console, hardtop, even the engine is on. You can see the engine for the boat Tim's working on sitting in that box right down there. And we have more engines on deck. We like to carry inventory, so we're never standing around waiting for parts. There's some Mercury engines and Yamaha engines on the other side of the building. We have this choreography going, so we're always ahead. This is the console that goes with the blue, that dark blue hardtop outside. The boat's not even here yet. But so that's how we go. Lay it out, get the customer's blessing, install everything, and put the boat together. So we have room to do 3 boats in here. Caleb is putting in the outriggers right now. It's like the last thing that goes on. In fact, our big boats, we have to put them on outside because we can't get out the door. Outriggers and radar. The helm seat we get from our fabricator named Birdsall. They do a great job. They've been in West Palm Beach for years, decades. They kind of invented the T-top, and we have a wonderful partnership with them. This over here is a complete boat, a 27. It hasn't been to the water yet, but the next thing we do is we take this boat and this boat that are both ready for the water. We actually put fuel in them on Friday. Only after the sea trial and the punch list is done do they get the Albury Brothers logo on them.